Here we have take 2 on my review of a Marlin Camp Carbine. The first one, the audio cut out at 46 seconds and I didn't catch it soon enough, so I apologize to everyone for that, but we'll give this one a better review this time. This is the Marlin Camp Carbine 45. It is a 45 ACP straight blowback semi-automatic carbine. It takes standard 1911 magazines. This is Marlin's version of it, but it is a standard 1911 magazine. I typically use them with these Chip McCormick 10-round magazines. However, all of the standard ones work. This is a straight blowback design, very similar to virtually every other straight blowback design carbine, including the Marlin Model 60 and 70, also the Ruger 1022 and many others. These were made from about 1985 to 1999. And when I first saw them, when I first read about them coming out in American Rifleman, I swore I was going to buy the very first one that I found, and I did. The absolute very first one that I found that I could buy anywhere, in a gun store, in a gun shop, a gun show, anywhere, was 5 years after they ceased production. They just didn't. I guess they weren't very popular. I don't know why, because these are darn good guns. There was a problem with them noted with the buffer assembly, which was not really a problem with the buffer assembly, but they tended to shatter them and also split the stocks back here right behind the receiver because of hammering them really hard. I got a Wolf spring, recoil spring for this. It was the heaviest they had. I believe it was 21 pounds. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was 21 pounds. And I haven't had a problem with it since. Many people have said about 500 rounds and it would just shatter the buffer back here. And I haven't had a problem, but I replaced it immediately. I also added this Weaver scope base to it. I changed out the rear sight for this Marbles full buckhorn rear sight and a Marbles fiber optic front sight. Now, between this combination, the full buckhorn sight actually becomes a ghost ring type sight with a glowing dot in the middle of it. And I've got this adjusted to be about 50 yards. The scope base has a channel down the middle of it, which allows me to use the sight and still see the front sight. And that forms a very nice ghost ring there and works quite well. It works very well both eyes open because of the glowing front sight. So that's really good. This is the factory stock that I got with it. It's a maple stock with hardwood finish, and it's got some dings in it, and that's fine. I don't normally use it this way. So just a minute, and I will show you how I normally carry it. Okay, so I just changed it back to the stock I normally keep it in. This is a Cho-8 synthetic stock, folding stock that I normally keep it in. It works really well. It folds up like this, making for a very compact package. Nice to carry, not so great to shoot with, but it's perfectly capable of doing so, and you can do that. It's fully operational. You can get to the trigger, you can get to the magazine and the magazine release, and it works fine. But it's nice for storage, and it's fairly quick to pop out. Not so much when you're trying to show it on camera, but when you have it in hand. I thought about changing the stock, but that's kind of a boring operation. The insides of the receiver are pretty much just a big Marlin Model 70 magazine, which is a magazine fed 22. It's got a larger bolt. It's big, heavy mass. With a recoil spring, it's straight blowback. It's standard. Go look at a Model 70. You'll know exactly how to take this bugger apart. So there's no reason in covering that. In this configuration, I have a True Glow holographic sight. It's both red and green. That's the particular model I got. And it works quite well. The groove in the scope base and the way that the holographic mount works is such that I can actually see the buckhorn sight, the full buckhorn sight, and the front sight through it, creating a lower dot, lower effectively holographic dot that actually works really well because of all the blocking, and the blacking out works very well in both eyes open mode. Out to 25 to 50 yards, and then the holographic sight works quite well, but you gotta lift up off of the cheek a little bit, a little more than I like to get up off of the stock to see the holographic sight. But the advantage of the holographic is that when you can see the dot's where you're gonna hit. So that's a minor inconvenience. Full down on the stock, the open sights work quite well. This is an excellent little gun. I'm surprised they weren't more popular than they were. And I will probably buy the next one I can find. Now this, the Marlin camps were made in 9mm as well. The first ones, the first year or two, I forget how long, of the 9mm actually used Browning 9mm high power magazines. They then switched to the Smith & Wesson 59 magazine, and they also made a version in 9mm in stainless steel. As far as I know, they never made one in 45 in stainless steel, but if I ever find one, I will pay whatever they want for it, whatever that is. But this gun works quite well, and I'm very happy with it. So